Hello Star Wars fans, this review is just of Star Wars Squadrons PvP multiplayer. We have a separate review specifically for its single player, which you can find in a link in the description below. Here's something I didn't expect when I jumped into the cockpit of this online space dogfighter. While accessible but nuanced flight controls may have been what hooked me into the Star Wars Squadrons campaign, its light but fun PvP multiplayer sets itself apart thanks to its terrain. Facing off against human pilots shows just how much room there is for making clever maneuvers around obstacles to avoid or get the drop on your opponents. But that left me wanting more in terms of modes, maps, and progression than the little of each that's here. Squadrons has just two modes. Dogfight, which is a simple 5v5 race to 30 kills, and Fleet Battles, which gives each squad a large capital ship to protect. Both share the same 6 maps, which vary in visuals and obstacle layouts, except for Yavin, which is entirely empty space and a total killjoy when it comes up in the rotation. Both modes are made fun simply by the fact that Squadrons' flying and combat mechanics are a blast. Knowing when to shift your power between engines, weapons, or shields can make all the difference during a fight, and subtle throttle control let me pull off exciting moves that felt straight out of a Star Wars movie. In a big open space like Yavin, the dogfight mode can fall into the flight game doldrums of mindlessly spinning in circles around your opponent. But Squadrons offers plenty of opportunities to cleverly use the layouts of its other levels to your advantage. I absolutely loved flying close to walls, through space stations, or around objects to throw off enemy missile locks, or get the jump on another ship from an unexpected angle. The kills I earned that way were exceptionally satisfying.
My job is done, Titan 4.
The Fleet Battle mode can have a similar appeal, but I actually enjoyed it a bit less despite its grander objective and greater depth. Grabbing kills will change the balance of a bar at the top of the screen, and that needs to be filled before your team can go on the offensive. First destroying 2 medium-sized ships before finally being able to assault the opposing capital ship. That isn't just a matter of blindly pumping lasers into it either. You have to target specific parts of the hull, as well as systems like shields or power that will give you the upper hand if destroyed. That said, these matches can drag a bit as that tug-of-war bar shifts back and forth, and a little too much time is spent flying toward an objective rather than in the action. Additionally, since the larger target ships are controlled by AI and generally out in the open, there's less opportunity for those intense outplay maneuvers that take advantage of the terrain. Instead, Fleet Battles ask you to think about ship choice and weapon loadout more than a simple dogfight. Coordinated squads will likely be able to find more effective strategies and team compositions, but the experience I've had with random players is far messier than that ideal. Not to mention the frustrating lever problem I've noticed so far. Only about half of my ranked matches have stayed 5v5 till the end, which really sucks. It's great that Squadrons has no microtransactions. EA seems to have learned the lesson of Star Wars Battlefront 2 pretty well. The only problem is that the progression systems here are a little thin. Ship loadout options all cost 1 requisition, and nearly every choice is a matter of personal preference. Since requisitions are handed out relatively liberally, progression can flatten out pretty fast, but that's because you unlock exactly what you want right away. Be it a faster engine or a stronger hull, these trade-off choices felt significant. The other half of the progression coin is cosmetics, and it's somehow both lovely and laughable at the same time. Neat ship skins and decals, pilot outfits, and even dashboard toys are unlocked with another currency called glory. The cockpit dressings can be cool and enticing. I mean, who doesn't want a Kowakian monkey lizard staring at them while they fly? But the other items feel largely invisible. This is an exclusively first-person game where you're rarely close enough to enemies to get a decent look at how they're painted, let alone what tiny decal is on their wing, and you usually only see pilots for a few seconds before or after a match. Why would I get excited about skins for stuff I'll barely see? It's definitely not an easy problem to solve, but it's still a problem. As a quick side note, it's worth reiterating what I said about VR and HOTAS support in my campaign review. Put simply, Squadrons is phenomenal in VR and with a flight stick, and if you have the means to play this way, I'd highly recommend it. It's just sort of magical. The thrill of dogfighting in Star Wars Squadrons' opportunity-filled maps is an absolute treat. Its flight systems reward quick thinking, and its customization is centered around personal preference instead of power upgrades. But with just 6 maps, one of which is literally empty space, that are shared between only 2 modes and tied together with some simple progression, there's just not a whole lot here. That makes my love for Squadrons flying more of a steamy affair than a committed long-term relationship. For more on Star Wars Squadrons, watch my review of the single-player campaign, or a full match of multiplayer. And for everything else, keep it right here on IGN.